Welcome to the third video building the Bedclock application. So basically we have this application where we have some simple settings at which time do you want to wake up, that you can either choose like 7 a.m. in the morning, then how much you want to sleep, either 8 hours, 7:30 or 7 hours, and you can either enable notifications or not, and based on that it says how much time left until bedtime, and then when it's bedtime you click on go to bed and you log the sleep for that day. So back at home you can just see how the things have been for the last days, if you've been on time, late, or if you missed that day, and also you have streaks of that. This is mocked data, so this is not real. We just faked it in order to see how this page was looking. Then the other day, last thing we did was to implement this next file where we were saying what things we were pending, and the first thing was to implement the storage service. So if we go here, we can see that we are clean other than these docs next. So we'll just fix the to-dos and implement the storage service. We'll be removing this next and ask Codex to in a new chat, because we don't want anymore to do that. I want you to implement the logic of the, how did we call it, of the storage service.dart, and replace in the different screens that can use it to use it, and update better and update the different screens that can use it to use it. Keep it simple and easy. Just a simple instruction. We could have gone further, but let's see what just with that it says. So it scans the Flutter project, it looks for that service, and then which screens are currently handling storage directly. So it will implement something. It found the target files, perfect. Now it's finding that the service will be empty, so it has seen the 4 actual screens that use that. So yes, we'll go with that. Let's see what it actually does. Yes, we'll just fully believe what it says and trust it without checking that. I don't still see anything in the changes. Okay, enough context. So it's implementing the storage service that is backed with the share preferences. It creates simple models and replacing each screen's local storage tab with this single service. Perfect. So we see that it uses the shared preferences. Okay, it's a good thing. So if we go to pub.get, this is where you can see the Flutter dependencies. Here we can see which one was the, I totally forgot the name. Shared preferences. Okay, yes, let's accept that. Shared preferences. We see that it basically wraps it persistent storage for simple data. It may be kind of in the local storage. I've seen there are different libraries or packages, such as one called local storage that I used in the past, but I see that it's going with that one. So yeah, let's see how this goes. We go back here, we continue trusting everything that it wants to change, and let's see how this actually goes. Yeah, better sleep entries, it's creating the different models. Let me see where else it does. There's already a few items updated, but yet it's doing storage service, it's updating it. So it has read settings, save wake up time, save sleep duration minutes, the different save the setters and getters for the different properties that we are somehow reading from the prefs. Also a clear all, some encoding, some decoding, perfect. I think it could have been better. I'm not sure if it makes sense to have this save everything or just save. I guess it's fine because it's wrapping the set int or set string or set different things depending on which type it is. Yes, we trust everything it says. Also, I saw that there are problems here, so after that we'll be fixing those today too. I don't have too much time, so I don't think I will be taking the whole hour or 40 minutes as the other days. I think that today's goal is to have it properly linked with this service and then fixing all the to-dos that exist, but nothing else. And then tomorrow I will be ready to actually test this and prepare some marketing, because at the end this is one of the steps where I get stuck the most. So it's formatting things. It has finished wiring all the screens to this service, just a Flutter pubget. So this way we resolve all the dependencies, the new ones we are using, like the share preferences. It's analyzing. I didn't use Flutter Analyze before, so I'm not sure exactly why it's done. Let's see it while it does it. Flutter Analyze. Basically, it says that it does a static analysis of the code. So yeah, it's kind of in the Sonar Cube for the ones I'm using at work, but for these Flutter codes. Okay, it's thinking it should have finished already because everything is finished. Git status, I don't know why it's doing that, but okay. Perfect, so let's see what it has changed. It has added this real storage service that it's using shared preferences underneath. Something worth checking is, I mean, I already know that, but how much support does it have for the different platforms? So in this case, I hope we'll go for Android and iOS, so ensure that this one goes with both of them. There are some packages, actually more than that, I would look at this part on the top, because there are some things that are not able for some of those platforms. So make sure that whenever you go for one dependency, check that it works with the different platforms you want to tackle. And with that, okay, it's using that underneath, and then it has created simple models and storage keys. I'd like to see where these models have been created. Leave models, perfect. So cool. And also the keys have been updated. Perfect. It's updating the things that already were existing before, so it's kind of putting all the things together. Let's just update this and see how this works all together. So now I'll say that I go with 6, continue, okay, and something has already failed. Missing plugin exception. No implementation found for method getAll on. Perfect. So I'll play also the same, and I'll just paste this message. When clicking on continue in the onboarding screen, I get the following exception. I'm not sure why it's exactly done, so it's checking the paths, share preferences is initialized correctly on startup. Okay, it may be that here we need to somehow, not here, but in the main application, it's possible that we need to initialize something. Here it's also something that we could be checking in. Okay, I close that. Usage, you see there are some things that you can check the options. but the instance, maybe it's this instance that we need to somehow initialize somehow. Let's see what Codex does. I found the root cause on Windows. The generated native registration is empty, expected for this plugin, which means that plugin registration also needs to be wired for desktop. I'm checking the window runner files to add that missing registration code. Okay. She's applying a target fix in main Dart to force that plugin registration at startup. Yeah, I'm not sure why it's removing all that. I'll go with yes, but I'm not sure why. Okay, it's getting it again, and before running the application, it ensures that everything is initialized. Okay. Yes, we analyze. Also, we continue playing. We refresh the part, and we'll go see here if we want to go at 6 in the morning, and we continue. No, it still shows the thing. Still getting the same issue in the save wake up time function method. Missing plugin exception, no implementation found for method get all. I don't know if it says anything about this, like if I set get all, no, nothing. I'll trace the plugin registration deeper in the project to verify whether Dart register generation is happening and whether this is falling back to the unregistered method channel path. I don't know why it's going that. I confirm show preferences is currently failing back to the legacy method channel path, which means the Windows Dart implementation is still registered at runtime. Okay, I'm going with yes, but I think that it's doing the changes, so I'll just refresh that. Yes, yes, yes. And check if it's fixed now. Just continue. No, it's okay. It's doing more changes. No, I'm not going for Windows. Trying to make it work on Android. The app is intended only for Android and iOS. Since target Android iOS, I'll remove the Windows specific registration. Perfect, and focus on the config for that. Perfect. Those are the things where you can start just going crazy because it's trying to do things for Windows, but we are not generating anything for Windows. So if you just believe anything it says and you don't get a bit of a background of what you're actually doing, it's easy that you just start doing stuff that it's not important. So let's see everything that it's doing in here. In the meantime, we will see how this goes. So basically we can see here on the right the errors. We can refresh. Yeah, we apply changes. We still continue and it says the same error. So okay. The under plugin is present, so the fastest reliable fix is to stop using the legacy getInstance API. Okay, so it's the getInstance, what it says that it does not like. However, in the example, it was doing this. So is this maintained? Like, see, yeah, published 2 months, 254. Yeah, we believe that. let me go see what we have in the pub spec YAML, which versions 253. Yeah, 253 should work despite of not being the very latest, but okay, we'll continue with that. Flutter analyze, it's supposed to be have done the changes. So yeah, formatting everything, let's regenerate again. If we continue, no, it's failing. Still failing, but this time not on button click, just on loading the service I get. So it says that it's using some wrong thing. Okay, it's changing how it's being initialized. So share preferences async somehow may need something, so it's can be the possible parts of the options we were seeing in this example. No, I don't think it will be. Yeah, I'd like to understand why it's failing. Maybe just this, I don't know, just share preferences, Android and Foundation. I don't think it should be that hard. No, I would rather make it work only with the shared preferences dependency without extra. Okay, so I see that it's using two depending on which part we have to register. Yes, it shouldn't be that hard. So if it does not work, we'll just go back again and we won't be here for a long time, as I said. So I'm giving it a chance that it formats everything and it works. But if it doesn't, okay, done. So if we just refresh the page, it already fails. In this case, we would come here and say git status. We'll see a lot of changes. So git check out everything and Flutter pub get to ensure everything is getting the dependencies properly and a thing. So oh no, I didn't want to restart. However, it's no worries. I'll just go in the meantime in this main Dart and make it start the plugin so that it starts the application again. In the meantime, I'm gonna be asking again the same thing I did. Please just let me see it for a second what we had in this part. If we were saying storage, nothing here, nothing. Share preferences proper. Yeah. Please, not please. I shouldn't say please. I'm wasting tokens. Where is it? The services here. Storage service. Implement the storage service Dart and update the screens that are that need to interact with the storage to use this new service. Keep it simple and easy with the minimum code and external dependencies used. So yeah, as we see here, we've been for 19 minutes on the video and we are back at the time where we started. For that, it's important that you do what we are doing. Well, at least this is what I do. So I think it's important to be just kind of doing the checkpoints all the time, like with these git commits that we ensure everything is being pushed when we apply changes. So this way we don't lose a lot of things. Because otherwise we would have, if we would have not pushed anything in the past, then we could have been just in a point where we didn't know what exactly we were pushing. So yeah, it's just Control Z would become kind of in a maze, and this at least how I like to work. I try to just trying to build it in a single prompt and make the agent work, but it didn't work in the past, and for me this is the best way of working with that. Okay, so it's creating the different models, the settings, the entry, the sleep entry that we mentioned before. It's acting the same way as it was doing before. Let's see if it does the exact same implementation or if there's any difference that fixes the previous errors. So yes, we continue with the storage service implementation. Yes, the share preference is 253. I think that if it fails, I'll rather ask to use the 254. However, it already has this symbol at the very beginning that it takes the latest one. So yeah, it's removing some of those models and importing the new ones. I like it. Okay, it should be almost there. Still a few screens to update. Let's see how this goes. With this, all those to-dos are also disappearing. So let's see, we already have the home and the history screen. We still miss the onboarding and the settings maybe. So let's see for which one it will go now. Okay, now it's, as it says, the settings and onboarding. First the settings, perfect. So now only the onboarding will be missing. As we can see, all the changes or most of the changes are basically removing the models from those and using the methods that are shared in the service. That is at the end the goal of having services to share pieces across different parts and keeping a kind of a central state. As you can see here, it's doing a few changes with, like, we are speaking about dozens of lines changing. Perfect, everything is finished, so let's try to restart. Perfect, we are here, so if I'll go with 6 and I continue, we have the same error. So what is prefs? Prefs, it's the share preferences get instance. I think that at this point I'll need to somehow check this. I'm not sure which is the part that is doing, and I'm gonna be asking to, without updating anything. Now, when I try to call write wake up time, I get the following error. On my Android emulator, I got the following error, and I put that whole error in here. The app is expected to work both in Android and iOS. So let's see, at this point I think it will be important to check if the proposed changes. I'll quickly verify Android iOS embedding setup and plugin registration files to pinpoint the share preferences is not being registered at runtime. Then I'll give you the minimal fix steps. Okay. So wrap platform specific data blah 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 230 that can be used in is a legacy app that will be deprecated. We highly encourage new users to plug in the users to share preferences as a sync or share preferences. So if I'll go with is this an extra package? No. Well, it's just getting some content, verify the plugin. It checks in the main that everything is initialized, so yes, shouldn't be a huge change. If it fixes, it's good. Because we're running a stale native build after adding a plugin and Node.dart call itself. Okay, yeah, I think that this is what we didn't do before, because maybe since we were adding something, I'll stop that, run those. Where are we? Here, Flutter clean, Flutter pub get. And now again, we are going into the main application and playing it on our application. So basically it says also some things. It has added this safeguard, but yeah, maybe the issue was before that I had the emulator open from earlier and we were working with a stale version, so yeah, it may be that we just redid this stuff when we didn't need to do it. Let's see. We're already at close to half an hour, where I was expecting 15 to 20 minutes. Let's see if it works now and we'll see. We've seen that the problems have been reduced from 17 to 11. If I look for to-dos, also they have been reduced. Most of those problems will be to-dos maybe. But yeah, let's see how much it takes to launch this. It's not a quick thing. No. Let me see. All the problems. Background is deprecated and should be used Surface instead. Surface. We'll do that later. Okay, it has started, so let's see if I just go into 6 just to make sure that it's the 20-second and I continue. Okay, it detects the 20-second. Cool. So if I'm going back here, we see that there's no strike, it's obvious. Then we have this wake up time 6 a.m. We update this 7 a.m. We go back and it should have been updated, I guess. It's detected the 7 a.m. Now if I refresh, it goes back to this part. So it's already integrating things, but I don't think it's like we go here from 6, continue, it's 22. We come here from 6, we go to 7, from 22 it should go to 23. And still is on 22nd. However, it seems that it already has been integrating those things, so I think that I will add that, because there are a lot of changes. Git auth, git commit implement initial version storage service. Perfect. So now we'll ask when I update the wake up time on settings page and I come back to the home page, it seems it doesn't update it accordingly. It still shows the time to bed from the earlier dates. Okay, let's see if it detects the whole thing. You're right, home screen only loads settings in init state, so returning from settings keeps stale values and patching navigation return handling to load. Okay, so good, yes, sure. Now, just one change. It seems that it understood clearly the assignment. We'll go from 6, 22nd, 22. We are 22. We go back here and we say 7 and save, so it should be 23. And for sure it's 23, 4 hours, 4 hours and something, 6, 22, 3 hours and something. So good. Now another thing that I would like to ask is when I like that if it already has some configuration, when the user opens, it should be redirected to the home page instead of the onboarding. The onboarding should only be opened the very first time or when the data is reset. So now it looks promising. Let's see if this is also tackled correctly. Make sure startup root selection dynamic by checking a persistent onboarding complete flag in storage. Okay, so then it will add this new way of doing. Okay, I'm applying the startup. Okay, sure, yes. I would maybe instead of add the different part, just check some of the real values like the date. If it has a date defined, you don't go to the thing. But yeah, I don't dislike either the option of going with the extra parameter. Perfect. Patch content mismatch in main Dart. I'm applying asterisk full file update now. Yes, sure. We'll trust on the process. Yes, sure. Basically, it's setting it as a synchronous domain to make sure that it first checks if it's instantiated or completed, and depending on that, we go to one or the other. So, good. Yeah, more or less it makes sense what it does. As I say, I would rather do it differently, but this is also some of the good parts or funny parts of using this way of working, that you need to somehow trust also the other option. So basically it's, as I say here, it's using the initial root depending on the other thing. So now this is a parameter that it will receive, which initial root exists. Then my question is if it should be done in here or in here. I guess that it should be done in there. This check home screen. Yeah, if it does not mount it, it loads the setting. The onboarding sets the complete, and the storage has a new property. Why doing it in the main Dart? Why doing the checks in the main Dart and not directly in Dart? This way we wouldn't need to pass the So as I said, what I'm saying now is that I would rather keep it like that, and this check I would do it directly in here, so it would be easier to not change the main dart and keep this main dart simple. But main dart is usually cleaner for this specific check because it's just synchronous and determines app bootstrap. If you move it to app dart, you typically need a future builder loading splash before material app, which adds extra UI state and controls. Okay, so perfect, no loading UI, main app, perfect. No, if it says that it's on purpose, I'll continue with that, I'll trust it. So now we open here, we say that we go at 6 a.m. It's 20 seconds, so the next time I refresh, the application is again loaded in here. Maybe we didn't see the difference, but if we are in settings page and we refresh, it should open the home one. So we already have the bedtime and which time it's left. So yeah, I like that. I'll for sure update this. And fix storage checks. Now going for the problems. Opening a new chat, and in the theme.dart I get the following warnings. The background, also the on background, those two. Let's see if it fixes both. Yes, I trust the process, found the different two things on background and on background. I'm going to remove background and on background, yes. And it's doing on surface, what? It's just removing? Surface on surface. So the thing is that looks like those two were not being used. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna be replaying the application. For sure it still looks similar, if not the same. All good. So which other problems we have? To navigate to confirmation screen. Open settings. I'll directly open a new chat since I don't want anything from the previous context. It doesn't add any value, and fix the to-do comments from the home screen.dart directly without any extra information, because I don't have that extra information actually. So I found 3 to-dos, fine, it did easily. I found centralized root constants and root mapping so that to-dos callbacks can be replaced with explicit behavior instead of silent catches. I'm checking root setup to now wire this cleanly. Confirm the 3 root exists, so perfect. Seems it's easier. Yes. Editor in place, I'm doing a quick pass for style consistency. Okay, found minor formatting, yes. I'm running a target analyzer check. Okay, yeah, sure, analyze that. Let's see if it does not find anything. Okay, sure, everything compiles cleanly. So the next thing is, well, here would be so. Here we use the roots. Approach log, navigate to confirmation, show navigation error, sleep confirmation. The same, use the settings plus show navigation error, and this is just showing could not open history, could not open setting, could not open a sleep confirmation. Okay, I like that, with just showing it in the toast on the snack bar. So yeah, looks good. I'll need to recheck. It shouldn't change anything, but just it's in the home screen. So the important thing is that navigation continues working. Those three. So and this has logged this on time. Perfect. Let's see. Empty container. So this container, I would say, because it does not have any children. So this safe area is coming here. Okay, empty container that was not doing anything. Then the schedule notifications, yeah, I see here. To do and share onboarding route exists, so I liked how it did that. But yeah, it's already been 40 minutes. I was not expecting that much, so I'll just keep it here. Git add, git commit, fix problems and to-dos and some to-dos. And we will keep it here. What's next? We'll end up completing those to-dos. We see here there is a notification service that will be implemented. So for the next time, I'll use this notification service. And if we go around the different parts, we see the logic is not there. The models are being used now. All the screens have something. The services, we only have the storage. And for the widget, we don't use any of them. So I'll implement tomorrow or the next day the missing notification service and update the notifications, and with that we can end up having a initial MVP. That's all. If you watch until here, please let me know in the comment section and remember to subscribe if you're not, and we'll continue with this project. The sooner the better. Bye bye.